Okay, Mr. Chairman, I know we still have to wait, but this is recording and you're live on YouTube.
Looks like we might have lost him there, Mary.
I think we lost Bernie.
Looks like Bernie's gone.
Oh, no.
All right.
He's concerned about that fuel pump.
He went to check. Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Great, Mark. How about yourself? Good evening.
Well, thanks.
He's
Paul.
back. He's
Yeah.
back.
Dennis, you're muted.
Yeah, I just don't want to interrupt with crinkling papers and so on. But
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mary, we're all set?
Mr. Chairman, we are all set. It's 7 o'clock. We have our 4 members for a quorum, and perhaps people will be joining us as we go along.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Good evening. Welcome to the Environmental Impact Commission meeting on October 27, 2021. It's a web-based meeting hosted on Zoom. All votes will be by a roll call vote. I'll start the meeting with a roll call. Gallows here. Dr. Mary,
Here.
Jeff Harold,
Here.
Mark Massoud.
Here.
We have a quorum. First item on the agenda is accepting the minutes from October 13th. We have to waive that right now. There's the right people aren't here to vote on it, okay? Next regular meeting is November 10th, 2021. Old business. Item number, regular activity 1137, 8 Lewis Avenue Drive, Allen Drive. Who is here from there?
good evening. It's Dennis. For the record, Dennis Verbicus, professional engineer with Artel Engineering Group with an office in Brookfield here on behalf of the applicant. This application is for construction of a single family residential home on a 5.2 acre parcel, of which about 1.5 acres of is wetlands. Since the last meeting, we met with staff, met with Richard out at the property. Walked it, we noted that the entrance drive to the site is constructed, so the wetland crossing itself has been done. It's been in place for quite some time. And the remainder of the property, as proposed, though we're working close to wetlands, we're not proposing any wetland loss or any impacts different from what was or similar to what was previously approved way back in 2003, 2002, something like that. And we have, since that site walk, received a determination or project impact report from staff. We've reviewed it and took a look at the suggested conditions of approval and are okay with the report, and would be grateful if the commission chose to approve this evening. But in the interim, I'm here to answer any questions that anyone might have.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Richard, do you have anything to add to this other than your report? Just summary ruling.
Yes, the key takeaway here is that the wetland, the water course crossing, that stream crossing is established. That is, it mirrors two additional water course crossings that are up the road. All of the construction activity would have to happen across that wetland crossing. And then speaking with Dynas, we agreed that the arch and the crossing can sustain and handle that load.
Anyone else have any further questions or remarks on this?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Masood, go ahead.
Dynas, with the, so in looking at the plan, the wetlands obviously kind of bisects the site. The on-site septic system will go on one side, and it looks like the development on the opposite. So how will the access take place to the opposite side to install the septic system? I wasn't real clear on that.
Yeah, so the between the wetland, the delineated wetland boundary and the property line that would provide the access for the septic system, it's about 20 feet wide. And the vehicles or equipment that would, the bulk of the work would be bringing septic sand up to the top of the slope. And they would access it via that route. So a 20-foot wide swath is more than adequate. And we've got erosion controls proposed along the edge. And if you wish, we can double up on the silt fence there or some other means. Maybe put up some construction fencing as well so that it's visible and people are less apt to want to stray from that 20-foot wide path. But it's pretty simple operation, I think.
Yeah. And the soils will support a truck, a double axle, triaxle truck going across, traversing that area.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Would it need to be, reinforced with like a construction type entrance, or just reinforced in terms of, I don't know, some means to allow for a heavy equipment to go back and forth?
But with respect to, between the home and the septic, or between the
Yes.
road and the home?
Between the road and between the dwelling and the septic.
Okay, yeah, I think, again, I think that this property is pretty rocky in there. So I think, from that standpoint, we'll have a stable base for vehicular traffic. And I think the trucks are likely not going to move too far into that area, in that it does steepen up as you get closer to where the leaching system is going to go. So they'll likely, back in, dump the septic sand and make their way out. And that bit of work is readily done and quite common.
So when would is there proposed initiation of construction timeframe?
I think they would have chosen yesterday if they could have. They're pretty anxious. The people who purchased the property have, as I understand it, sold their home and are looking for speedy construction process.
Okay.
So, and I think, basically what needs to be done is first and foremost, get the surveyors back out to redefine where the wetlands are so that we can establish the limits as to, where you can't go or where no one should go. And then set your erosion controls, remove trees and so on. But I think it'll be a rather rapid process upon approval here.
Right.
And I'm assuming approval. I'm hopeful.
Right. And I just note that the one of the conditions of approval says that right, the wetlands need to be flagged prior to the initiation of construction. And I might refine that a little bit to make it, although I understand you have to clear to a degree to get into the site, but be cautious to make sure wetlands and limits of disturbance are flagged prior to any tree clearing to put a little bit more of a finer point on it.
Yeah, I think,
Recognizing that there's some clearing has to be done to get into the site.
I swashbuckled before Richard got there, and I don't think I would have been a good pirate. My arm was tired just cutting weeds. But yeah, it's a pretty straight shot in, and not much clearing would be required to get to the site proper.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that we need to delineate where the wetlands are, reestablish that boundary so that everyone, so that it's apparent and everyone knows.
Okay. Thank
Anyone
you.
else have any questions or remarks? Now the motion's in order to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve number 1137 to approve as presented.
I'll second.
With the 10 conditions, okay, any
Yeah,
second?
with the conditions, correct. That's what, as presented, right.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve summary ruling with the 10 conditions as presented. Any remarks? Roll call vote. Dr. Mary,
Yes, fine.
Jeff Harold,
Yes,
Mark Masood,
Aye.
motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Dennis, have a good night. Thank you.
Have a great night, and Richard will be in touch with delineations and so on. Thanks so much. Good night.
You're welcome. All right. Next item on the agenda is regulated activity 1139, which is 100 Reserve Road. Richard, you haven't had a chance to complete this yet, is it correct?
That is correct. I have not completed the project impact report for that property.
Okay. Town Attorney Features represented him. We told him we were going to table it this evening because there was no further discussion on it. Anybody
I'll
have a
make that
problem with
motion.
that?
no, I'm okay. I'll make the motion to table 1139 pending action by Rich and what else is necessary.
So table it till November 10th?
Is that the next meeting,
regular
Mary?
meeting?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, till November 10th, yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
One second. Okay.
Motion made and second, table regulated activity 1139 until our next regular meeting, November 10th, 2021. Dr. Mary,
Yes, sir.
yes, no? All right, Jeff Harold,
Yes,
Mark Masood,
Aye.
everybody's happy tonight. The next item on the agenda is regulated activity 1140, which is 197 Southern Boulevard. That's with Mr. Castro. Ralph Gallagher is on vacation and asks that we table this. But we do want to read something into the record that Mary has. All right, Mary?
yes, thank you very much. Later in the day today, we received a note from Ben Dodo. And I believe all of you probably saw all of the emails I sent with extra pictures of the property and surveys. And I'm sorry that they were sent so late in the day. However, this email from Ben Dodo is as follows. This was addressed to Richard Janey. As discussed on behalf of the Spains, I have reviewed the subject application. Specifically, Ralph Gallagher, Professional Engineers, regrading and erosion and sediment control plan that calls to remove fill off-site if required to original grade with the owner's permission. Please let this email serve as notice that the removal of material on the Spain property is required. Attached is Sydney Rapp's survey highlighting the limits of the off-site disturbed area on the Spain property that needs to be included in this work. Also attached is a photograph I took in August showing the debris/fill that extends across the Spain property line. The material, soil, debris, logs, brush, etc., should be removed down to the original topsoil grade and the hole be backfilled with soil. Then, at a minimum, the entire disturbed area heavily mulched. This will prevent erosion and allow the native vegetation to regrow next season. Also attached is a report from an arborist, Matt Weibel. Mr. Weibel also calls for the removal of this material on the Spain property. Additionally, that it be done by hand near the trees and that they be fertilized after. Mr. Dodo was not able to attend the meeting. However, he welcomes any questions at a later date.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Any questions on this?
This is Jean
This
Spain.
this is an NOD that we had. Any
I'm sorry.
questions?
Am I allowed to speak?
I'm sorry, no. No. It isn't a public hearing, so no, you can't. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Where is Castro? That's all I'm gonna say. Because nobody is representing him here.
At the start of the meeting, Ralph Gallagher is on vacation and said he wouldn't be here, asked us to table this till our next meeting. That's why no one is here. Mr. Castro isn't here and Mr. Gallagher isn't here.
Okay, are you calling for a motion to table, Bernie?
Yes, I am.
I will make that motion to table number 1140, action 1140, pending future actions until November 10th.
I'll second.
Motion made and second to table regulated activity 1140 to our next regular meeting on November 10th, 2021. Roll call vote. Dr. Mary,
Yes, sir.
Jeff Harold,
Yes,
Mark Masood,
Yes, aye.
motion carries. To the Spain family, I'm sorry I couldn't allow you to speak, but those are the laws, okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Motion carried.
I'm sorry, maybe the suggestion that the Spains, if they have not already, contact staff off the meeting and they can help to resolve any questions that they might have.
They have, Commissioner Masood, we've been in touch with them. And we've been
Okay.
there on site several times.
Okay,
And we've got it pretty well got on hand. I understand the Spain's disappointment. They want this thing is just dragging on.
right,
And hopefully we can get a resolution for the next meeting.
gotcha. Okay,
Next item on the agenda, new business. Regulated activity 1141, 12 Great Pasture Road. Did you have anything on this, Richard? Have they presented anything to you actually, or?
I've briefly reviewed the plan. I do not have a project impact report ready for that yet.
Okay, no, we just wanted to make sure. Anyone that's looked at it have any questions, remarks?
I do not know. I looked through it,
No.
didn't see anything of note.
Tables in order.
Would you,
Mike Mizuko is here. I don't know if
Is
he
he?
wishes to, yeah,
would,
I don't know if he
Oh, I
wishes
don't-
to speak.
I don't see them
Mike?
in it. Oh, here we
oh, I don't have my video on though.
Okay,
go. Okay, go ahead.
No, I just, for the record, Mike Mizuko, I'm here on behalf of the applicant T-Drap, Tim Draper, for this project. And if you want, I can kind of walk you through a brief overview of what we're proposing, if I can just share my screen.
Sure, go ahead.
oh, just a moment, please. I'm sorry. All right, Mike, you should be able to.
Okay. Okay, has everybody seen that?
Yes.
There we go, yes.
So this project, or this site, we came in with a proposal back in 2004, 2005 for an expansion of the existing use that Mr. Draper has on site, which he runs his landscaping business out of. And he, just because of the economy, he never really pulled the trigger on that project, and has since switched gears and is looking to do a self-storage facility and take down some of the buildings that are currently there. I'll just kind of walk you through, just go through the area maps. Let me just show you where we are. So here's the site here, and you have prime storage, which their front set of buildings is here, and then their access driveway to the back set is here. And then you also have Safe and Sound over here, safe self-storage. And we do have a small section of floodplain on the property. We are in the IL 40 zone. The self-storage is a special exception use, and we have filed for special exception and site plan approval with the planning department. And this is the natural diversity database. We're just out of any hit areas or critical areas of special listed species. So currently, this is what exists. There's a couple of buildings in the front and then the back. And then he's just, this area here is what he has been using for his operations. And you can see the floodplain line. This area here has been filled in. And the original proposal, we did get EIC approval back in the day. And essentially, I've tried to keep all of that the same from that original proposal. So if we go to the site utilities, it's one building. We would be reducing one of the front buildings just for an office. We did have to go to the ZBA to get some variances for that, even though we are reducing the nonconformity by taking a part of that building out, but we did receive that approval. And so, as I mentioned, we would be taking a lot of this fill out that was done, and we would just be putting in the stormwater management system there, but at a much lower elevation with a pretty elaborate planting plan. And we do have city water, but we are on septic, and it's just a very small septic for an employee because it's all self-storage. And so I'll just take you to this wetland mitigation plan, which is essentially the same plan that we had. The stormwater management system really didn't change anything. I think we had to just adjust some of the outlet control orifices. But other than that, and a lot of this work was done by, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Connecticut Ecosystems. So that's the gist of, this is just a standard detail sheet, but that's just the gist of the proposal. And as I mentioned, this area didn't really change much. And it's a less intensive use in terms of self-storage compared to a contractor's yard. So there's the proposal. If you got any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions at this time?
I don't know.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Richard, you didn't have anything to add in this, did you? You're muted, Richard. Yeah, okay.
I do not have anything to add yet. No, no, sir.
Okay, motion to table is in order. Motion to table is in order.
Yeah, I'll motion to table regulated and 1141. Is that correct? Wait a minute, where am I? No.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, 1141, table it until November 10th.
Second,
Motion made and seconded to table regulated activity 1141 to our next regular meeting on November 10th. Roll call vote. Mary,
Okay, yes, sir.
Dr. Mary, I'm sorry. Jeff,
Yes.
Mark,
aye.
aye, and Bernie is a yay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Next item, you too, thank you. Next item on the agenda is regular TV 1142 Eight Shore Road. There's a new landscape plan or adjusted, Abigail, okay.
Yes,
You want to fill us in a little bit?
yes. Good evening. For the record, Abigail Adams, registered landscape architect, here on behalf of Charles and Monica Burnham, owners of 8 Shore Road. And with me is Brian Baker of Civil One, if there happens to be any questions about the stormwater management system or the septic area. I don't believe Mr. Janey has had a chance to review the plans thoroughly, but I'm happy to go over the project quickly to give a presentation of it if you so
Sure, go
choose.
ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Great. Mary, can I share the screen?
Yes, you should be able to,
All
Abigail.
right. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with this property. Again, 8 Shore Road. We're bordered by Candlewood Lake and then single family residential surrounding the property. We're in the RA20 zone and the parcel is approximately 25,000 square feet. As you can imagine, the 200-foot regulated area off of Candlewood Lake takes up almost the entirety of the property. The 200 foot's running at about this line here, which you'll see clearly on my landscape plan. Currently on the site, there is an abandoned home, existing driveway with a small little pull-off area here, a greenhouse, patios, walkways down to the lake. This is the remnants of a very old gazebo with pavers around that entire area. And then there is a functioning boathouse and it is mostly lawn sloping down to the existing seawall that's located along the lake. And on the southeast side of the property is pretty wooded with some understory material, some large trees. And then on this northwestern side of the property, there's some trees and a lot of scrubby material that's happening along the property line. So I enlarged the sheets to be 2 sets just so it's easier to see. So the upper portion of the property above the 440 line, you can see right across here, we are proposing to demo the existing home, build a new single family residential, essentially maintain and work with the grades and the existing driveway as it's located, install a new carport, some retaining walls, steps down along the side of the house. We would remove some of the planting that's necessary in order to do the construction and replant with some screen plantings. We have viburnums, some green giants, other ornamental plants coming down the property lines. I won't talk about it too much, so Brian has something to discuss, but for the stormwater management, we're looking at a series of catch basins that are going to drain and daylight at a rain garden on the right side here, and then also a rain garden on the left side of the property. This is a new patio off the back of the house with a deck above, and this is the existing leaching system, and we would be installing a new septic tank in this location here. And then moving down below the 440, a little bit more activity happening here. But what we're intending to do is remove the existing play structure, remove the remnants of the gazebo, remove there's a demo plan over here, remove a concrete ramp that's in this location. And then we want to come in and spruce up this area. We would remove the existing walkway and then reset it, slightly realigning down by the gazebo area, removing all of the steps so that it's just a sloping walkway. This would enter into a new patio area. This used to be a portion of the gazebo, but this would just be patio, and then we would have a new gazebo in this location right here, almost the same location it is now. In terms of the seawall, nothing is changing along the seawall. There is a portion that is starting to crumble here. There's some boulders, so we're going to remove that and replace just with a boulder slope, not a new engineered seawall. And we're also proposing to install a jetty within the lake bed. I have had a discussion with First Light about this, and they actually seemed very positive about that, so that we could attenuate the wave action along the seawall here. So that is what we're proposing. And then we would get rid of the concrete ramp, as I had mentioned, put in some steps so they have this small swimming area. It does not exceed past this seawall that we have here, so we don't think that it's going to be too much of an issue. New dock, and then the existing boathouse, that is going to remain. We are looking at potentially cutting out a section right in here. There's a large concrete slab, and it was obviously intended, this boathouse, for a much smaller boat in the past. But what we'd like to do is cut out a piece of that concrete in order to get a longer boat in there. Other than that, there are no changes proposed to the boathouse. Right now, the property is mainly lawn all down to the lake. There's a large pine here, a large tree in this location, a maple, and then another tree here. We are proposing to remove the one tree that's here and the one that is being overtaken by vines and is decaying by the boathouse. We are replacing those with eastern red cedar is what I proposed for those. We are pruning up the maple here, pruning up this tree. And then, as you can see, we've done an extensive planting plan. Right now, the 50% of the 50 feet back from the lake, the buffer requirement for First Light would require us to plant about 5,100 square feet of planting area, which is what we have proposed here now, essentially native plants for that buffer planting. That's pretty much the highlight of everything. Silt fence, downslope of the construction for the new gazebo and the walkway. Then obviously the jetty would be happening during lake drawdown in the winter. So we have some silt fence within the lake bed for during the time of construction when that's going to happen. I had spoken with Mr. Janney, and I believe he had a discussion with you, Chairman Gallo, regarding the fact that, as we all know, First Light is taking months and months. I've got some projects that have been with them 5 months. We're pushing 6 that I'm not getting answers and any kind of resolution on, and they're relatively simple. So we are hoping that, although there's not a go-ahead from First Light at the moment, that we may have some sort of a stipulation so that we can at least start demo work and the work above the 440 line. Otherwise, we could be out for quite a long time on this project. But that's the hope. We've applied to you. We are submitting to First Light in the next day or two and hoping, who knows, and maybe they'll surprise us and come back sooner rather than later with an answer, but I'm not having much luck with them right at the moment. I don't know, Brian, is there anything that you wanted to add regarding the utilities?
Sure. For the record, Brian Baker with Civil One, licensed engineer in the state of Connecticut. So we were brought on initially by the purchaser of the property to do the survey work and assess the redevelopment of the site. At one point, there was considerations for keeping the existing house and raising it up. It's in too bad of a condition, and we decided to go forward with actually to tear down and rebuild. We did assess the existing septic system. We did some soil testing out there to confirm some of the original testing results. So there was a septic system that was installed in 1992. Consisting of 22 lengths of 27-inch galleries. That met the code at the time, and it does meet also the current code for a 4-bedroom house. And we inspected the D box and opened it up, and everything looks high and dry. But we will have to replace the septic system with a new 1,250 gallon septic tank. Because it's currently too close. It's too close to the existing house as it is. And so now we're going to replace it to make it conforming. And obviously currently typically with older houses like this, there's no sort of stormwater treatment in place. So even though we're mirroring the house location, making it slightly larger, reusing the same driveway location, we're going to introduce formal storm drainage catch basins and treat both the driveway drainage and the roof drainage with rain gardens on either side of the home that are sized to meet the required water quality volume. So we didn't take obviously any credit for the fact that there's existing impervious there that's not being treated. We're basically looking at the site as a blank slate, and all the impervious surface that's on there, we're accommodating with the water quality volume in the rain gardens. So that's basically what we looked at, was doing the survey mapping and taking care of some of the technical aspects above the 440. And then we looped in Abigail to assist us with all the items below the 440, as well as all the plantings and required improvements that the landscape architect typically takes care of above the 440.
Yes.
Anyone have any questions on this? Abigail, could you take that down, please?
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Anyone have any any questions at this time?
Just one, if I may, just to reiterate, so it sounds like the health department will be, with the exception of the replacement of the tank, approve the functioning of the leaching fields themselves.
Correct.
Richard should have said yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Motion to table is in order.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion. We table regulated activity 1142 until November 10th.
Second?
Here, a second. Roll call vote. Dr. Mary,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Mark,
Aye.
motion carries. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda Public hearings, none. Applications, none. Correspondence, a letter from Lakewood Beach Association. Mary, thinking about this letter, Mary, we probably should send it to Corporation Council. You're okay.
Okay.
Richard, this letter was to add this to the EIC.
The regulated waters, their goal is to, what appears to be added to the list of waters that are regulated by EIC.
We'll send that to Corporation Council, I think, and let them take a look at it.
All right.
Anybody have any questions on it?
I just have one. What is it that prevented this from having happened years ago?
Well, can't answer that. It probably should have been. It was overlooked, and I would, if I had to bet, I would bet they didn't want it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because, you know,
Probably.
this meets all the criteria for something we should have been involved with. I don't really get why it wasn't, but okay. Your answer is understandable. I appreciate it.
We've been treating it as if it is.
If I can comment, I think when the regulations were last written, and I probably had a hand in it. If I'm correct, they're asking for a 200-foot upland review area to the lake, and that the 200 feet, because it has to be justified in terms of land use and other factors, was, I think, reserved for major water bodies and the Still River. So we were judicious in assigning and justifying the 200-foot upland review area and leaving the balance of them at generally 100 feet, if that helps.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Mark. I don't know any of the history here, and it just seems strange that this was not already under our purview, but okay, good enough. Thank you.
We'll start with that. Need a motion to adjourn, we'll be all set.
So moved.
I'll second that, or third it, or whatever's necessary.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn until the next regular scheduled meeting on November 10th. Any remarks? Roll call vote. Dr. Mary,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jeff Harold,
Sure.
Yeah, I'm out.
Mr. Masood.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Motion carries, the meeting is ended. Thank you all for coming. Hi, Mayor.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Mary.
Thank you, everyone.